Good morning, class. Today we're going to talk about two-step equations. Two-step equations are equations that require two steps to solve. Now let's look at this equation for instance. 5x plus 3 equals 23. We're going to solve it for x. Now in order to solve this equation for x, we need to get the x by itself on one side of the equation. Whatever is on the other side of the equation will be our solution. In this equation, x is a variable, meaning it is a letter or symbol representing a value. So what is the first thing we have to do in this problem to solve for x? The first thing we have to do is we have to get rid of any numbers on the same side of the equation as the x that are not directly attached to the x. This number is the constant. In this equation, the constant is 3. We eliminate the 3 by adding its additive inverse. The additive inverse of 3 is the number that, when added to 3, produces a sum of 0. The additive inverse of 3 is negative 3. So in this equation, we add negative 3 to 5x plus 3. 3 plus negative 3 equals 0. And so that leaves us with 5x equals 23. Wait, something's not right here. If 5x plus 3 equals 23, then 5x absolutely cannot be 23 all by itself. Let's go back a little to our original equation. Okay. 5x plus 3 equals 23. We made a mistake when we eliminated the 3. To get rid of the 3, we have to add the additive inverse. But in order to keep both sides equal, we have to do the same thing on both sides. So if we add negative 3 to one side, then we also have to add negative 3 to the other. Now that looks better. You notice how the equation is balanced on both sides of the equal sign. Okay. If we add negative 3 to both sides of the equation, 3 and negative 3 cancel each other out. And then that leaves us with 5x equals 20. Okay. And ta-da, we're at the end of step 1 of our two-step equation. Hooray! But that x is still not by itself, and that brings us to step 2. Now, the problem that we're going to have here is that 5 is a lot stickier than the 3 was, so we're going to have to raise our game a little bit to get rid of it. The 5 is called a coefficient. A coefficient is a number that is used to multiply a variable, so in this case, 5x really means 5 times x. Unlike with the additive inverse, our goal here is not to eliminate the 5 by turning it into 0. A 0 would not help us because any number multiplied by 0 equals 0. By turning the coefficient into 0, we would be turning the variable into 0 as well. The x wouldn't be by itself, it would just be gone. To remove the coefficient, we must multiply by its multiplicative inverse, also known as its reciprocal. When the number is multiplied by its multiplicative inverse, the product is 1. So for our equation, 1/5 times 5x equals 20 times 1/5. Okay, in this equation, in this equation, 1/5 times 5, they cancel each other out. And to see how they cancel each other out, 5 times 1/5 is 5/5. That equals 1. Okay, so we're left with x. Now over here, though, if we multiply 20 by 1/5, that gives us 20/5. 20/5 simplifies to 4. And since any number multiplied by itself, any number multiplied by 1 is that number, we can just get rid of the 1x. And that leaves us with x equals 4. We now have our answer, and we have reached the end of step 2. So just to recap, step 1, we start with our original equation, 5x plus 3 equals 23. We add the additive inverse of 3, which is -3. They cancel each other out. And that leaves us, but we also add the additive inverse of 3 to 23, and that brings us down to 5x equals 20. Step 2, we multiply 5x by its multiplicative inverse, which is 1/5, and that cancels out the 5, basically, which leaves us with x. We also multiply 20 by 1/5, and that leaves us with 4. X equals 4. All right.